Ladies and gentlemen, Impact Wrestling Review. I'm about to hop right on into it. January 11th, 2019. New Orleans Saints to the NFC Championship. But that's beside the point. About to hop right on into this. Hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to be notified of every video that I make. Impact Wrestling fans. First, before I hop into the review, I'll say that the Impact on Twitch experience, it was great. It was wonderful. There were a few complaints from some people I saw online that many people did not like the fact that the Impact Wrestling was playing older clips from TNA that were highlighting wrestlers that were in other promotions. People were complaining about how long they were. And I gotta say that showing wrestlers that are prominent in other promotions at the moment, it didn't really bother me at this point. It's 2019. Anything like that wouldn't bother me. I mean, it's their footage, so it doesn't really bother me. Not a big deal for me. But I would say that if they were to show clips from Explosion or more recent Impact Wrestling clips, I think they would be better off doing it that way. Although it's not a huge deal for me, I saw a big complaint about it online on Twitter, so I felt a need to address it. But moving on to I will tell you what is too long for me. That doggone GWN replay, saying about that for months. That is way too long. It always kills the momentum of the show, the pace of the show. But moving into the review with Johnny Impact, and he had some words to say. He was upset despite being the champ, despite winning the match at Homecoming. He was upset with Killer Kross about how he attacked Talia and just threw her into the front row. He was upset about that. He was upset with the scripted BS in his words, and he wanted him a piece of Killer Kross. Well, that brought out Brian Cage. And guess what? Brian Cage was upset too. And he had darn good reason to be upset. He wanted himself a rematch. He said his stupid Survivor friends helped Johnny Impact out. They're the only reason why he has the title. He had him pinned for a 10 count. And Brian Cage has a heck of a point. I don't know what was going on at the very tail end of the match. I don't know if that was planned. I don't know if that was a bot. I guess we'll never know. It looked more like a botch than planned. But Brian Cage wanted his rematch. And he wanted it now. Johnny Impact wasn't trying to hear that. So that brought out Killer Kross. He poured gasoline on the fire, said that Brian Cage was the real champion, said that he had Johnny Impact pinned for a 10 count. 3 pinfall victories on Johnny Impact in one night. So eventually, Kross said that he wanted to put Talia back in the hospital, and Johnny Impact was just ticked. That set off a chain of events where Johnny Impact super kicked Brian Cage, had a dive on Killer Kross to ringside. Then Brian Cage came back and knocked him out, and we had a face-off of the big hosses. Brian Cage and Killer Kross. Killer Kross leveled Brian Cage, but Brian Cage no-sold it, got back up, and Killer Kross was like, I'm good. Man, I am good. So Killer Kross back down, and normally, I don't like the big opening talky bits in wrestling anymore, but they kind of had to go to a opening talking segment with Johnny Impact, with Brian Cage, with Killer Kross, given how the pay-per-view ended on Sunday. So they had to go down that route. I didn't have any problems with it whatsoever. It advanced the story that is Johnny Impact, Brian Cage, and Killer Kross. So it was a good opening segment. I enjoyed it. Afterwards, Johnny Impact was getting checked up on by trainers, and Brian Cage barged in, talking about how he wanted his rematch. Johnny Impact said, chill out. You can have your rematch after I get finished with Killer Kross. So after that, we had the Lucha Brothers versus the Rascals, Desmond Xavier and Zachary Wentz. Y'all know how much I love me some Desmond Xavier, so I was excited for this match, given that fact, and given the fact that I knew that this was going to be a barn burner. Like I always say, when you see two guys making their entrance to the ring, you just know it's going to be a high-paced, really good match. In this case, 4 guys. You just knew what the pace of the match was going to be. You knew it. And I expected it to be a banger. It was a really good match. Not as much of a banger because of the commercial break that was added into it, but we got some phenomenal spots in this match. I love the corkscrew crossbody from Zachary Wentz. I also love the double cutter from Phoenix on the Rascals. That was really done really well as well. Like I said, the commercial in the middle of the match, I didn't like it. It really kind of threw off the pace of the match. So while it was a really good match, it wasn't quite the banger that I thought it would be. The match would end as Pentagon had Desmond Xavier up for a power drive, and he had Zachary Wentz to the gory special as well. Phoenix would hit the cutter on Zachary Wentz. Pentagon would hit the power drive, and they would pick up the 1-2-3 over the Rascals. We had the respect after the match, hug after the match, and that was a phenomenal opening, I gotta say. A phenomenal opening match, shall I say. So I enjoyed it. Not quite the banger that I thought it would be, but really good enough. I enjoyed the Impact Wrestling's tag division. It's like everybody that gets into the ring, it's going to be a banger. That's what it feels like. And we got another banger coming up next week. I'm going to get into that later on in this review. But after that, we saw an interview with Killer Kross. After Homecoming, he talked about what he did to Johnny Impact, and he talked about how he would be the champ. So, isn't it like Killer Kross is set up for a big push? And we'll see what happens after this week, after this current show. We'll see how the program with Johnny Impact progresses. So, after that, Kenzie Mitchell interviewed Killer Kross. He said that he planned on causing pain and hurting everyone, and he talked about hurting Johnny Impact in the no DQ match that they would have going on. And he ended the promo by saying, "It's over, John, tick-tock." So after that, we had Josh Matthews in the ring with Rich Swann, and Rich Swann really put over the history of the X Division. Talked about the older guys that put the X Division on the map in the Asylum. Yeah, AJ Styles and Samoa Joe's, and he went on from there. Said they changed the business. He talked about how the X Division was filled with no limits, and he said that you might as well call him the No Limit Soldier. And I just had a big face for him. I was like, look, no Master P references. No, look, that did not work out well for WCW Rich Swann. I got you. It was a nice line, but that brought out Sami Callihan. He talked about their history, and he tried to bribe Rich Swann with an OVE shirt, and Rich Swann wasn't having it. Willie Mack came out. Willie Mack and Sami Callihan brawled. Rich Swann broke it up, but that led us to Willie Mack versus Sami Callihan. And I got to say that this was a good match, but I had a problem with it. I'm about to get into it. I really like this match. These guys have really good chemistry. And we got a fierce pile driver on the stage. Looked like Willie Mack was about to throw Sami Callihan off the stage for a minute. And I thought they were going to go with that spot there, but they didn't. They ultimately went with the pile driver on the stage. I really like this match as it pertains to the action in the match. And at the end of the day, Sami Callihan would pick up the victory. Willie Mack would pick up the victory after what was a pretty cool ending to the match. We had a bunch of roll-ups, and Willie Mack would pick up the victory. Here's what I don't like. The 50-50 booking. Look, we just had the match with Sami Callihan and Willie Mack at Homecoming. Sami Callihan picked up the victory. And like the next episode over, Willie Mack picks up the victory. Like, we got to find a better way to advance the feud. Like, I wouldn't have minded if they would have just advanced the feud with the Rich Swann interview and Willie Mack and Sami Callihan going at it, and then they would have just gone to another match. I would have liked it done like that, but instead we got the 50-50 booking. It was a good match, however. So moving on, we cut to the LAX clubhouse, and they pretty much were with Conan, and they celebrated their victory against the Lucha Brothers. Conan talked about how he was wrong and that he's happy that the match was historic. They toasted to the match and to the win. So after this, backstage, we saw LAX going at it with OVE, Conan with the insults, and it looks as if we will get an LAX versus OVE match next week. We will definitely get an LAX versus OVE match next week. That is going to be phenomenal. Like I said, no matter what the tag match is Impact Wrestling, gonna be a banger. This Friday, excuse me, gonna be a banger. LAX versus OVE. I very much look forward to it. So Scarlett Bordeaux was out after that, and we had quite the scene. It was a supposed strip show, and the first thing I said was, "Who's gonna break this up?" So the Desert Hit Squad broke it up. Gama Singh was in the ring. He said that Scarlett Bordeaux shouldn't be embarrassing herself in front of the American people. They don't have any family values. They don't deserve anything. So this brought out Scott Steiner. Heard the sirens, and I was like, Scott Steiner's coming down to the ring? So basically, he leveled the Desert Hit Squad, really took him out, and said that he wanted the show, and he got a show from Scarlett Bordeaux. So at the end of the day, this segment was whatever. The Desert Hit Squad gets buried again, to which I never really had any interest in the Desert Hit Squad. I think they need to. How long have I been saying this? Or only for months now. I think they need to take out Gama Singh. That would take them to the next level, but they haven't done it yet. At the end of the day, Scarlett Bordeaux, Scott Steiner, it is what it is. I'm more interested to see how the talent search would turn out. I think at the end of the day, Scarlett Bordeaux, this talent search, it needs to end with Scarlett Bordeaux saying that no one is worth her time and that she wins the talent search. So moving on, we had Josh Matthews recapping Tessa Blanchard versus Taya Valkyrie. Gail Kim cut a promo backstage, talked about how she called the match down the middle. No, Gail Kim, unfortunately, I'm sorry, you didn't call the match down the middle. Said that she wasn't just any referee and that she would fight Tessa Blanchard back. So are we getting Tessa Blanchard versus Gail Kim or what? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So we'll see on that one. After that, we had Tessa Blanchard versus Kylie Collins, and this was a basic squash match. Tessa Blanchard, the walking mean streak, the former Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion, and I have a new name for her. Tessa Blanchard, the total package. Tessa Blanchard. Yes, I'm stealing that name from Lex Luger. She is the real total package, and she has it all: promo, believability, work rate, whatever you want. She has. She's a draw as well. The total package picked up the win. And what was a 1 minute or 2 minute match? It was what it needed to be, a squash match that built up Tessa Blanchard. So moving on, we have Mackenzie Mitchell interviewing Eddie Edwards. He talked about how he was moving on from Moose. Eli Drake came out and he talked about how he was changing up too after beating up Abyss and Tommy Dreamer. And he said that he should reconsider bearing the hardcore flag. So we have ourselves Eli Drake versus Eddie Edwards feud going forward. And I am very excited for that because it was time to actually do something with Eli Drake. I wasn't really feeling the Abyss feud. I didn't feel the Tommy Dreamer feud either. So we're moving on to something very significant. Eli Drake versus Eddie Edwards. It should be a really good feud combined with really good matches. So moving on, we had Dark Alley and Su Yung over a casket. Dark Alley talked about how she wasn't going back to the bunny that she was. And before she could even get through with her promo, we had the special effects, and on the casket it said, "One more chance, rejoin the shadow." So it's looking like, obviously, it's been looking like that we were going to get Dark Alley versus Rosemary, and this was just to further the build going forward. I'm very much looking forward to that match. I'm slightly looking forward to the storyline as well. I want to see Rosemary back. I want to see how they tell the story. We shall see going forward. But as pertains for next week, we're going to get Dark Alley versus Jordan Grace. That should be a phenomenal match if they give it time. So after that, we had the main event. Johnny Impact versus Killer Kross in a no DQ match, non-title. So Killer Kross was wearing street clothes. He had his Dean Ambrose attire on, to which I'm not gonna even go down that route. But this was quite the match, quite the physical, hardcore match, and boy, did it involve chairs. We had the spot where Killer Kross locked in Johnny Impact's neck through the chair, and we had the spot where he threw Johnny Impact into the ring post. That's supposed to incapacitate your opponent, but obviously we moved on from the match from there. So after that, we had a heck of a spot where Johnny Impact was calling for the chairs from the fans, and we had the Starship Pain on Killer Kross on the chair, so that was a sick looking spot. So I enjoyed this match very much, and obviously Killer Kross no-sold the spot, so we got a bunch of chairs thrown into the ring. After that, we had Johnny Impact. He threw a chair at Killer Kross like a long dart, and it was a very physical match that I very much enjoyed. Moose came out to interfere in the match. He threw Johnny Impact into a table. This allowed Killer Kross to lock on the Kross jacket for the win. Obviously, Killer Kross picking up a non-title win over the champion. Where I'm from, my old school wrestling self, when you pick up a win, a non-title win over the champion, that means you are automatically in line to get a title shot. So Killer Kross will be in line, I assume, to get a title shot in the future. We have the Killer Kross and Moose pairing back together. If they don't start calling these guys Killer Money, I mean, they don't want money. Like, you got to put that on a t-shirt. Killer Money. That's supposed to be the name of this faction, the name of this tag team, whatever they are. Killer Money. Start calling these guys that. I'm giving you free advice. I'm not even putting the copyright on that. Killer Money. Start calling these guys that. Killer Kross picks up the victory. I actually don't mind the interference as it protects Johnny Impact. It was a non-title match. Killer Kross picks up a huge win over the champion, and we shall see what the build will be going forward into next week. As for the first show for Impact on Pursuit, Impact on Twitch, it was really well done. I enjoyed it for the greater majority of it. I would say that, I don't know if I could call it a home run, but I could call it a solid double. And pretty much everyone enjoyed it. And I gotta say that the GWN replay, that's pretty much the only negative that I have for this show. I didn't enjoy that it is so long. There are, obviously, as I mentioned at the top of this review, many people didn't enjoy the fact that they put so many past Impact wrestlers, past TNA wrestlers on display. I don't really have a big problem with that, but I understand where people are coming from with that one. I enjoyed the show overall, and let me know what you thought on YouTube in the comments down below. I will definitely respond to them. What did you think about the first show of Impact on Twitch? What do you think going forward about the storylines going forward? Let me know on YouTube down below, or on Twitter at MGCoreyB or at 2SweetPod.